An inspector general is a staff position in general's whole administration. A surgeon general, etc. So I went to interview him, and very pleasantly, and I talked about the whole report. Then I said, I've been directed to investigate this part of your report. I said, and this and that day you were in the DP camp. Yes. And according to paragraph 5, it says that you observed stolen goods and black market activity. Yes, I did. I said, are you an officer of the United States Army? He said, certainly. I said, do you have a sworn duty to prevent crimes? He said, certainly. I said, you saw a crime committed? He said, yes. I said, what did you do, Major? He said, I did nothing. But I said, you just told me that you were sworn to stop crimes, prevent crimes. He says, well, you can't stop up with the Jews like that. But I said, you saw that. You saw crimes committed, and you testified in your writing. And he says, I was afraid you would do something. Well, I said, you have a whole army behind you. Well, I didn't want to press the point. And then I went and almost lived there, except I went home to sleep. Mm-hmm. I was not far away, anyhow. And I had a car available all the time. I went and I started my investigation by telling people I am from the Counterintelligence Corps. See, I didn't hide my identity, but I didn't tell them that I was on official business. I just came just to see what you're doing. Mm-hmm. See? And I saw the head of the camp, and the JDC people already knew me, but they didn't know what I was doing.
Do you remember names of people?
No, and if I did, I could mention them.
Yeah, okay.
My report was at least secret, maybe top secret, I don't remember. What I did was to go around individual buildings and meet with individuals and groups. I went I knew what was there now. I went to visit with the groups were divided on the Zionistic bases, because most of them were thinking of going to Israel or Palestine. And I saw the General Zionists, the Mizrahi, and the Aguda, and all these other groups, and sat in what they were doing, the committee meetings, they had classes, I wrote everything up. I had a meal with the Mizrahi, and I met by chance, next to me, I saw someone whose profile looked familiar. It turned out he was a cousin, a distant cousin of mine. And the family didn't know that he survived. And he was preparing to go to Palestine. I'll tell you about that a little later, this connection. Be sure to ask me in case I forget. I wrote all of this up. There are three things that bothered me about it. One was that I saw young men, in their 20s, 30s, standing around and joking with SS workers. They were now doing the work. Just the reverse.
Right.
And they were standing around and joking with them. That hurt me very much. So, maybe these were not the most important, but still, you never know what they were doing. It's one instance. The other two were, I thought, possible. I can't give you details, but I can, but I won't. The other two were things that were questionable, and well, I'll give you one example. There was a car, and I walked over just to ask for identification of the car. There was a chauffeur, and he showed me, German, he showed me the papers, and he looked, if I can quote my mother, they falsch wie der goyische Gott. You follow me?
Yeah.
So I said to him, where is the boss? So a Jewish man came out, and I told him that he was, he didn't take that seriously. So I said, do you belong to this camp? He said, no. I said, I'm going to turn around and in 60 seconds I'm going to turn back and I don't want to see this car here ever. It doesn't belong here. It's no business being here. Well, it took 30 seconds. That's all. The car was out. And I doubt if it, I'm sure this was not the car that was there. And the major didn't do what I did. Because it was my function to arrest anybody. This is a military government function, violation, or an MP violation of stolen goods. I dealt with security, ideology. Because I suppose I could have reported, but I said, I don't want you here. And in any case, I went back and reported that there was no evidence of stolen activity or black market activity. I looked in all places, I didn't see anything going on. And I said, there may have been, when Major Kruger was there may have been something on, but he was derelict in his duty in not arresting the malefactors, in accordance with his duty as an officer in the United States Army. Well, I think there was one point, the resting point, having had experience in educational research and historical research, I wrote, what is going on in the DP camp? And I described the courses that were going on, the religious services, the hachshara, how they deal with their children, the young people, what's on the bulletin boards, the books, the secular adult education activities. What I wrote up was like a whole thesis. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure when the general looked at this, he saw what the major wrote and what the counterintelligence report showed. If he didn't send the reprimand, he might have. I'd already left, redeployed. He had a follow-up. Nothing was in the press. And this major was either reprimanded or else his report was disregarded. Because my document showed constructively what Jews were doing. Mm-hmm. I wish I had a copy of it because it would have been helpful to you too. Mm-hmm.
But there was no question that Jews were involved in
oh yes, I know, yes. But when my point was that you arrest them on the spot. Right. So you do something. You don't.
Well, there were plenty of Jews that were.
Yeah. Well, there may be even there.
JDC had plenty of spent plenty of time and money trying to get them out. I know that. You see, but I understood why they were doing it, but I could not accept it. I couldn't sympathize because we had more important missions to do for Jews and for everybody else. We had problems with the Poles, who were apparently being armed to liberate Poland, I think. And we defended the Germans in respect that the armed Poles would come on a farm and threaten the German farmer, take away the cows and things like that. We protested. The army protested. There was somebody high up in Frankfurt who was protecting the Poles, their activities. See, we didn't feel, and certainly a lot of people like myself didn't feel that we have to revenge ourselves on the ordinary German. This is not proper. If he had something wrong, then we'd know about it and we'd arrest him. So, but the ordinary German farmer is trying to survive. We had to protect him against the Poles, who felt irresponsible, you see. Yeah, and for all I knew, some of them were involved with the SS too. Could have been involved. So, coming back to what I hinted at before, in August 1945, this is, you'll find this in the press, because General Sir Frederick Morgan, you know that incident, what happened to him, and Mayor LaGuardia's battle with him. He was a general, he was a pretty good general. He was a general,
but he had a rank of
he was a general.
Brigadier General. LaGuardia handled him with dispatch. But General Morgan was right. The American army was helping the Jews out of Poland into Germany, into Italy, and then to Palestine. Not the whole way, but,
no, but they were
letting them in. The border, he said, was closed, but Jews were coming in. But he didn't. Where he was wrong, in several ways. One, that the order said that you use compassion. Okay? Mm-hmm. And he didn't see compassion for Jews. We did, and not only we, but Christians did too. Mm-hmm. I mean, some very fine people. Probably had records too. We let them in for that reason. Second place, he was wrong because it was not an official policy of the American government as such, of the army. Mm-hmm. So far as I know, we never got any directive to do that. Third, I can testify, and I'm sure I can speak for my colleagues along the border, that there was absolutely no connection between us and any official Jewish body. See, once it is known that the Eisenstein Pass is open, mm-hmm. the word gets back, and they all come. That was perfectly right. Right. We didn't have to advertise it. So, what I think he was dismissed is because of his attributing a plot which didn't exist, to my best knowledge. It may have been elsewhere, because there was the Jewish Legion in Austria and in Italy, and I'm sure they were in connection with the Haganah. Once they came through, they were running away from Poland because of the Armia Krajowa was carrying on pogroms, mm-hmm. yes, and they came through my post, and I knew about that. As I said, they went through, and once they came, I suppose, to Germany, there were agents who directed them to Austria, to Italy, and then on to Palestine. But we had nothing to do with that. We just exercised our discretion. It happened to coincide with it, but Morgan was, I think, he was an anti-Semite. And for that purpose, Eduardo put pressure to get rid of him. But I knew it was a bit ironic, because we knew what we were doing, and he was saying the American army was letting them through. That was correct. And I don't believe that was the focus of the displeasure, was what he was saying, the plot, and that he certainly was off.
You mentioned your distant cousin?
Yes. Well, I recognized him from his profile, a certain type of nose that some of my cousins have. Also his speech, his Yiddish, I got the dialect right away and identified where he came from. And his name, one of our family names. And I actually asked him to name his father, mother, grandfather. There's no important information back, and that was sent to his closer relatives.
Did you, during the war, did you write to any newspapers or any organizations telling them what you had seen?
No, I just wrote home to my mother. But see, in the beginning, I couldn't write where I was, but my mother guessed. So they took a mineral bath. So she guessed I was either in Karlsbad, Marienbad, in one of these places, but I happened to be in Wiesbaden. You couldn't say. Later on, I did mention where I was and some of the things I did, but naturally with security interests, I had to censor my own mail.
Sure.
So there must be some letters around, but I don't think they would be any more detailed, certainly less detailed than what I had said.
Do you remember any Jewish soldiers, attempting to get packages over from Europe from the United States?
On ship packages. I used to get things.
No, I mean on a grand scale.
That I don't know. I have a friend, like the man I married off. was stationed for a long time in Munich, and there was a big operation, of course. His name is Salman Beckerman. He's an educator. He's one of the supervisors for the Los Angeles part of education, Jewish education. And he married a DP girl who was active in social work. See, there in L.A., that's the kind of person who certainly would have gotten now. She was doing professional social work.
In the camp?
Yes, she was a
DP?
A DP herself. She's in Poland, studied in Polish secondary schools, and I think in the University of Lodz. He went with me to the yeshiva, and we married him off. But he didn't know until after the ceremony. I did the second part of the ceremony, but Lazarski asked me to do it from memory, too. What he didn't know is I opened up my coat and I showed him I had a .38 revolver here. He said, "Son, this is a shotgun marriage." I always kept it with me, see, even on Shabbos Yom Tov, always had it with me. I was a quick draw. So these people would know a lot more because they were there. I just found time for this.
Yeah, well,
I was not in the mainstream.
Yeah, right. Well, what I was interested in to see was how individual Jewish soldiers were involved.
And I'm sure a lot of others were too.
There were many
who brought food to them, you see, but they didn't have the resources in many cases that I had.
Mm-hmm. You were able to bring food as well?
I brought food, yes.
In addition to the packages that you had spoken about?
No, because
Army food anyway.
No, I didn't bring that because there were other people doing that. I brought kosher food, you see, that I knew they would like and that I was getting from friends and from home. There was one interesting person I met in the Deggendorf camp. So a lot of interesting people, but one of them was a physicist, a PhD German, who had been in concentration camps for several years. He was a middle-aged man. He had never shaved until I gave him an electric shaver. He refused to shave. He was later selected by the State Department to come to the United States for a mission, some kind of mission. He visited me at home. I got visits from my old alumni there, came to my home. Some of them corresponded with me for years. They would come and visit me every so often because this was a way of, I suppose, showing their gratitude, and I was interested in their progress, you see. So we carried on afterwards, too.
Mm-hmm. Did you spend a great deal of time at Felderfing, for instance?
No, I was there only one day. And I just met with some of the rabbis there. And,
what about in Regensburg?
Regensburg was not very far from me, but I did not have much to do there. That was the biggest city on the one side and Passau on the other in my area.
Mm-hmm. Now, what was the general impression, your general impression of the work of the chaplains, based on what you had heard from DPs?
And from what I observed...
What you observed. Well, you had only seen Rabbi Lippman.
Yes, but I also interviewed the chaplain near Nuremberg. His name was Goldman, I think. I remember Chaplain Goldman. I remember Chaplain Shapiro, whose brother was a rabbi in Warsaw and then lived in Field. Shapiro.
Abe Spiro?
No, that's Shapiro. He was a Rav in Warsaw, and then he took up residence in Field. I used to go to a shiur every week or so. Every week I used to bring him coal for his oven, and he used to sit and take home on Gemara. Of course, it was not far from my home and not far from the Palace of Justice. So I met him, and I must have met one or two others, but didn't get to know them very well. I had impression they're very busy working with Jews. That was their main activity. That's my impression. This is what I heard from Army people, from DPs. Some chaplain names are better known than others. Some remember Herschel Schechter's name is being used a great deal. So my impression is that they were doing very good work. Some of them, I think, have been even with combat troops.
Yes.
I say I was so far away from chaplains and from USO and from everything else like that. So obviously I didn't get to know them intimately.
No, but the important thing is, of course, is what the grapevine was.
Yeah, as they saw it, yes. I would say they helped.
You would get a general impression, I think, whether if they weren't doing a good job, this would have come across quite quickly.
Yes, but often I would hear, I got this from chaplain, this from the chaplain, that from the chaplain. Yes, certainly.
Okay, was there anything else you thought?
No, not that I can think of now. If you want, I can show you some of the things I brought back.
Okay, fine.
Just